All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. It is PCE Inflation day today. Netflix is set to acquire Warner Bros. Apparently, they're buying it for a total enterprise value of $82.7 billion. They expect the transaction to be accretive to GAAP EPS by year 2. Warner Bros. Discovery has been halted in pre-market because of this. We also had some Nvidia news early. We had some Southwest Airlines. They said bookings have returned to previous expectations after temporary decline in demand related to the shutdown. Palantir and TWG AI announced a new effort with Teton Ridge to bring real-time AI and computer vision to Rodeo in collaboration with Nvidia. Yeah, SoFi sold more shares. That's correct. They are now down to like 27 something, as 27.40s as we speak for SoFi. They sold more shares, diluted. Lee, Brad, Juan, John, Brian, E, Green, Lost, BA. Good morning. Bitcoin sitting down at 91,340s here, 91K for Bitcoin. NASDAQ pulled back a little bit, but most things are technically green on the day. Nvidia's green, SPY is green, NASDAQ is green, Dow is green. But, you know, they're not up a huge amount. So, Bitcoin's around 91,000, down over 1% in the last 24 hours. E3100s. Yesterday, indexes added about 0.2 to 0.5%. Low grinding up for December. Small caps hit a record close. NASDAQ led on tech strength. Again, Warner Bros. Netflix entering an exclusive deal talks over studio and streaming. Sentiment today is mostly positive, but data dependent. Today's PCE is the last big inflation report before the Fed's meeting and rate decision. So index moves are small, and you can kind of see we are rangy this morning. I might buy the bottom of this range, although it depends on what goes on this morning, but here's a range we have right now. If we take a look at yields and stuff like that, 10-year yield is sitting a little bit higher than it was yesterday, to be honest. It's over 4.1%. It's at 4.114% right now, so yields are a little bit higher today. They pushed up mostly yesterday for yields and interest rate sentiment. But if you take a look at the CME watch tool, the Fed watch tool, it's still looking about 87% likely that we're going to cut rates next Wednesday in less than a week. So that's what we get. We got 87% likelihood of a rate cut. But with data today, NASDAQ is kind of quiet. Some smart money, brief, comic. Jonathan, what exactly does that mean? SoFi is diluting. You can make sure they're, so SoFi is just going to dilute the size of their float, is what that means. They're going to sell 1.5 billion of common shares. So essentially what they're doing is so companies can add shares and essentially dilute the amount of shares that they have, right? A few different means. The first one you probably know about is called an IPO, an initial public offering of shares is what that is. That's the main one that people hear about, but there's also what's called a secondary offering. It is dilution. It's when they sell shares to the public. It brings them more money in, right? Because they're selling shares, they're making money from purchase of shares, but it's also adding shares to their float, and so it can curb volatility, and traders generally don't like it when it happens. If you take a look at SoFi, depends on why they're doing it, but if you take a look at SoFi, traders reacted negatively to this. It's down from almost 30 down to 27.40 or 27.50. So yeah, I mean, we're starting to break down a little bit here. I want to see if we bounce at 700 though. Just to see if we bounce. I might try to take a bounce here and just attack chop. 700 level if we get down there. We might not get down there enough. I wouldn't mind buying like a dip at 25,700s here. Let's see if we get down there though. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take a small piece here. I'm realizing I didn't have the right one. Here's the correct one on the chart. We just bought one. We might add one more to this way down here. Let's see if we bounce at 25.7s. Kind of at the bottom of the range, so I do want to see if we bounce here. I add one more, take 3, and that's it. We got a little bounce here. There we go. Green for a second. We are pushing down though. Again, I saw X got charged like 100 something million euros of a rule break. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna cut this now. We just didn't bounce at 7s, so I'm gonna just get out small. Wait, calibrate with that. That's a big drop. I'm trying to see if there's any news. And Netflix shares are down 3% after they are going to buy Warner Bros. Discovery for $72 billion. Look at this drop right here in the NASDAQ, though. We are falling. Wow. Weird. Yeah, Japanese yields did spike. Yeah, just to put perspective, here is 10-year treasury yield in Japan. It spiked overnight to 1.95% roughly here for Japanese yields. 1.95%. You can see the spike in Japanese yields. You see Bitcoin heading down with this sentiment as well. Bitcoin down to 91s. So yeah, so again, PCE drops at 10 a.m. Eastern time. There's the bounce, but we were in way up here, so even with this, I'll probably just have to wait. What a drop though, man. Look at this drop. And again, Netflix buying Warner Bros. Discovery. The deal is going to close after previously announced separation of their Discovery Global into companies, which is now expected to be completed in Q3 of next year. Transaction was unanimously approved by the board of directors of both Netflix and Warner Bros. Under the terms of each agreement, each WBD shareholder received $23.25 in cash and $4.50 in shares of Netflix common stock. They expect to realize at least $2 to $3 billion of cost savings per year by the 3rd year. I think it is valued at about $27.75 per share of Warner Bros. And it's still looking likely that we're going to cut rates 25 basis points. Yeah, it could be technical. I probably could have held this, but at this point it's looking a little bit too sketchy. I'm trying to see stocks. Nvidia's fallen down the last like 20 minutes or so. Meta, I saw Meta pushing up a little bit here yesterday from the big news. Google dipped a little bit, but up a little bit today still. Apple's completely flat. AMD's green. Netflix down a little bit in pre-market. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's do a poll here. Are you bullish or bearish on today's PCE inflation report? wonder if Netflix is kind of cheap down here. $100 a share for Netflix. I know it recently split from 1,000, but it'd be time to buy. I might buy just a little bit of Netflix here. What happens? Where's WBD? Shares are halted. I just bought a little bit of Netflix. Buy a little bit more here, actually. If I can build, there we go. All right. Yeah, I bought some more of Netflix here. Again, not an investment professional. Don't copy me. Not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. Can't guarantee anything. I did a poll asking people if they're bullish or bearish on today's PCE inflation report. 50-50 so far in the chat right now. Neutral? Maybe I should have had a neutral. Okay, so yeah, Japanese yield spikes. Again, the market, and this is kind of dragging. Maybe I should have held that long position. But Japanese yields are spiking now because the market expects the Bank of Japan to actually raise rates and tolerate higher, longer-term rates and yields after years of ultra easing. This is after Governor Ueda and other Bank of Japan officials have given their clearest hints that rate increases on the table for the meeting on the 19th, pushing the 10-year JGB above 1.9%. It's at about 1.95% right now. Highest level since 2007. Again, Japan's inflation has been running above their target for an extended period, so investors want higher yields and pricing and policy normalization than a permanent near zero rates. This is kind of unwinding the yen carry trade dynamic. Japanese yields rise and Bank of Japan hikes collide with the Fed cuts. The long-standing yen carry trade looks less attractive for investors. I should have held that long trade on the NASDAQ. That's going to be my slogan. I should have held. Data's coming out at 10 a.m. And it's expected today at 2.9%, 0.2% on the month for core PCE, which is the big one. Regular PCE is not really that big, but core PCE is the big one. The option. Okay, yeah. Regular PCE expected at 2.8 or 0.3. Core is expected at 2.9 or 0.2. So, but core PCE, don't get it twisted, is the most important one. How's the volume? It should be pretty good. I can always turn my volume up if you guys, if it needs to be higher. But how's the volume? Is the volume low? Yeah, 52% bullish on the votes, 48% bearish. Yeah, Japanese yields elevated. Honestly, US yields are elevated right now too. If I put up like a US bond yields, 10-year yields at 4.12%. It was at like 4.07, 4.08% the last few days. I mean, I'll turn myself up a little bit more, see if it helps. Yeah, let me know if this is good. I mean, I'm turning myself up right now. Let me know if that's loud enough. There we go. I can turn the volume and the music down slightly as well. All right, so I bought Netflix. Netflix is pumping up right now. That's good. Yeah, Lane Kiffin. Yeah, I'll put a timer a little bit closer to the actual decision. Or the actual data. We still got some time. It's coming out later this morning. Alright guys, look at Netflix bounce back here. A couple percent is always nice, you know? But yeah, the big story of the day, I would say, is probably Warner Bros. Getting bought up by Netflix. Again, yesterday Meta flew up here. If we take a look at Meta, because of them cutting the metaverse budget to boost AI and smart glass spending. Again, SoFi is going to be doing a 1.5 billion stock offering dilution. So, but again, Bitcoin is down on the day here, chat. Netflix is buying Warner Bros. Discovery. I think they are paying around 80. What is it? Let me make sure I get the right number. So Netflix is set to acquire Warner Bros. For a total of entity value of $82.7 billion. They expect transaction to be accretive to GAAP EPS by year 2. And I think they're paying 23 something a share plus some shares of Netflix, if I remember correctly. All right, so the Swiss approve a draft negotiating mandate for trade pact with the United States. Yeah, but the 10-year yield is now the highest since November 20th, and this is after also the Bank of Japan yields are higher this morning as well. But again, Netflix shares are down a little bit in pre-market. They're starting to fight their way back up, though. If you look at Netflix here, back up to 102s. We bought it down here, so love to see it. Again, Netflix expects the transaction to close in 12 to 18 months. The deal is going to close after previously announced separation of WBD's Discovery Global into a new company, which is now expected to be completed in Q3. The transaction was unanimously approved by boards of directors of both companies. Yeah, so each WBD shareholder under this purchase will receive $23.25 in cash and $4.50 in shares of Netflix common stock. Is the deal. $82.7 billion deal. Bitcoin signals investors think inflation print may be hot. Maybe. Yeah, let's take a look at gold. Gold's up on the day nicely. It's at 42.50s. Gold's been sitting around all-time highs now for a while. But yeah, the Swiss are reportedly approving a draft negotiating mandate for trade deals with the United States. If Netflix can keep popping this morning here. Again, we do have PCE inflation today, guys. Later on this morning, but here. And then next week we got a bunch of stuff too, right? Next week we got the rate decision. We got the JOLTS job report. Jobless claims. So next week we got stuff too. I think the week after. Let's see what we got. I think the week after is even busier than next week, even though we got the rate decision. But the week of the 15th, check it out. Just for the tech, like choppy days mostly. Take action. Yeah, I mean it's hard for me. Like I bought this dip down here at 700s, hoping we would bounce right back up and continue chopping. We broke down a little bit too much for my comfort, and so I ended up cutting it. 10 Eastern. PCE is expected at 0.2% on the month for core and 2.9% on the year. Again, 0.2% month over month for core PCE and then 2.9% expected. All right, so yeah, the week after next, we have payrolls on the 16th, retail sales on the 16th, unemployment on the 16th, more retail sales data for October 17th. Thursday, we got CPI data. Friday. Yeah. Bills. Interesting. Run. Retest the breakout today. Yeah, good. We hit 3% year over year. Assuming physiologically? I'm assuming you mean psychologically. You should also retest the breakout today. Also, it's a possibility this is a fake breakout in the last 4 days, leading into lower price today. Yeah, I mean, it's Friday, though, guys. Like, look at the market right now. So, I mean, market pushed up yesterday, right? But now we're kind of sideways here. And we've been sideways essentially all morning from 750s down to 685s or so. We've been in this range. Now, we did have a little higher lows. Now we're having a little bit lower lows, but we're still kind of ranging sideways. We're not really doing much. Could be an extension arm of the previous bullish action, or we could just continue chopping. Yeah, this one's for September. I don't know. The PCE report is done by the Bureau of Economic Ethics. Pretty sure. Checking their schedule. Alright, so we get third quarter GDP December 23rd. They haven't even like scheduled the next PCE inflation report. We get the September one today, of course, but they haven't really scheduled the next one. Not that I can see here. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. They haven't really scheduled a lot of them. Am I breaking up a little bit? Bank of Japan announces a rate decision December 19th. If they could raise rates, how much of a drop do you see in the U.S. markets? Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, the base case is that they're going to raise rates. I think a lot of people are expecting that they're going to raise rates. Am I breaking up, guys? Let me know. I don't think I am. I think I'm pretty clear. But if I am, let me know. Again, guys, 60% of you are bullish, essentially, on the PCE report. 40% are bearish. I'm cleared. Loud and clear. Clear, clear. Coming through fine. Yeah, at the end of this month, the Japanese are likely to hike rates. This is just mostly expected right now. This is going to be on 12/19. 12/19. A good number will be shocking to me today. Complete bear. It's December 19th is when their rate decision is. Ours is next Wednesday. Yeah, our rate decision is next Wednesday. Again, big inflation report today. We'll see what it looks like. We'll see what it looks like. It's the first inflation report and the last inflation report we're getting before the next Fed meeting on the next Wednesday. All right, so banks are going to provide Netflix with up to $59 billion bridge loans for the Warner Bros. Deal. Again, banks are providing $59 billion in bridge loans to Warner Bros. Deal for Netflix, according to Bloomberg. All right, guys, 2.9% expected today on core PCE inflation year over year. 0.2% on the month expected today for core PCE month over month. We will see what that looks like. For YouTube sign real? Yes. I know you're joking, but yes, it is. Wasn't Paramount trying to take him over as well? Yeah, Paramount was going for it. It was getting heated the last few days over Paramount and Netflix, but Netflix obviously being Netflix won. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So far, my portfolio not doing well, and I'm bearish since 2 days since the price action, so likely will run higher and hit more stop losses. You're shorting in your portfolio? Hey, brother, good luck, man. I am from Louisiana. All right, guys, I'm still watching 25/7s here. Netflix coming back down. We did buy the dip in Netflix this morning. We'll see how that goes. PCE is inflation data. It's the Fed's preferred inflation metric. It's called the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index is what it is. That's what PCE stands for. It's the Personal Consumption Expenditure Index. It's inflation. Good number will be shocking. Good or bad numbers today, chat? Again, 60% are bullish on this report. Again, 2.9% year-over-year core PCE expectation. We did reject right here at the 200 exponential. Isn't this bad for consumers? Netflix private pool. I don't know. They're gonna have more. I think Netflix is doing this to have WBD content now. You know, I mean, I think they've already had some. They own it. Again, the Swiss Federal Council said they're prepared to consider further tariff concessions on products originating in the United States, providing the U.S. is willing to grant more concessions. The Fed's going to cut rates this month. Probably. It's about 85 to 90% likely that the Fed cuts rates next Wednesday, and we're getting pretty close to the Fed meeting. This is the last big report we have prior to then. I mean, we got the JOLTS report the day before the Fed meeting on Tuesday next week. Maybe that moves things. We'll have to wait and see. But the question is the Fed going to change its tune a week before the meeting? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, they're going to be discussing what they're going to do in the day or two preceding the meeting. But you know, just to give you the schedule, they start the actual like meetup process Tuesday next week, and that's when they're going to be making their decision, really, and then they're going to announce that decision on Wednesday. And so essentially that's what we have for the next week. Yeah, but I think PCE reports also delayed data. It's for September, and so I think regardless they're going to be cutting rates most likely here. Even if we get high CPI print for September. We're not getting an October CPI report. We might get a November one. I'm just not sure when. We cut rates and what then when the economy is bad? Recession? Well, we ended quantitative tightening on the 1st a few days ago. So maybe we'll start easing. I don't know. I don't necessarily want us to. I really don't know about September PCE inflation regarding hot or cold print. I'm really not sure. I'm going to go with slightly higher, but I'm really just guessing here. Is that a PCE? I'm looking at grocery inflation. Yeah, but I mean, that's included in PCE. Now, core PCE is different. Core excludes food and energy prices. So... but food and energy are generally the most volatile. Speaking of energy, let's take a look at oil. Nasdaq's coming back down a little bit here. Oil's still under 59.70, which is the previous closing price. Bitcoin's still falling down. It's at 91,170 right now. I'm not usually. I don't know about PCE. CPI. I've gotten a lot right on CPI inflation. Like in terms of what I think it's going to be versus what it actually shows up as. I've never really tried to do it with PCE. So I'm really not sure what we get. Bitcoin's about to dump. I mean, it's been pulling back a little bit, but it's over 90,000. I mean, this is something that was at what, 80 something thousand the last few days. So, you know, yeah, I mean, we were on the 2nd, we were at 85K. Went all the way down to 83s and lower you know, if we keep looking behind us. So being over 90K is good. Bitcoin's been in a sideways range. I want to see if we hold at 91 or 90 here. 90,000 seems like a psychological level right around here. So I just want to see if we hold at that spot. Japanese really raise rates too much. Do we get a red month? Maybe. I mean, it's definitely not good if they raise rates, and it's probably gonna happen. But you gotta understand. I understand why they're doing it. You know, like a super low interest rate environment. While it sounds really good, the inflation consequences, and that's what they're kicking back on, is the inflation. And they're saying, hey, the inflation's too much. We need to start having like a normalization in our rates, and not always just have super low interest rate environment. And so that's the reason they're looking at raising rates. Weekly purchase of crypto. Yeah, it might be time to get in cheap. I don't know. Guys, we got PCE inflation at 10 a.m. today. 10 a.m. Netflix is down a little bit after buying Warner Bros. Or announcing they're buying Warner Bros. Discovery for about $82.7 billion, mostly in cash. I believe it's mostly in cash, and then there's a little bit of shares in there too. Netflix shares as part of the purchase. Again, yields are high. Japanese interest rate sentiment for yields is higher right now. Yeah, in the big news this morning, crypto's down again. I think people are still fearing the Japanese rates. Swiss Federal Council says they're prepared to consider furthering tariff concessions on products originating in the U.S. as long as the U.S. is willing to as well. Again, and banks are going to provide up to $59 billion in bridge loans to Netflix for Warner Bros., according to Bloomberg. I'm looking for some trades to get in here. I kind of want to buy this dip. You know what? I'm going to try to buy it again, even though it kind of looks bearish. I just want to see if we trend higher up to that 200 exponential. It's Friday. We're in 3 contracts here. We'll see what this does. Oh, y'all can't see either. Hold on. Dude, I don't know what it is. Like, every time I buy this, we just flush down this morning. Maybe that's my sign. It's not my day. Now we're under 25 sevens. Yesterday, I made so much money. I mean, today we're down small. These are 2 different accounts. We're each down like 20-something dollars in. So, not the end of the world. Definitely still got time. But we are looking a little bit redder this morning here. If we take a look at Netflix, Netflix is pulling back down to 100. Yeah, the split's been through. Netflix is only $100 a share right now. That's why I bought it a little bit earlier. What's up, Mama Pawn? How do you set up your chart? What do you mean? Yeah, SoFi diluting 1.5 billion. And so that's negatively impacting SoFi for sure. News is still a little light, so I'm not really putting this music on intentionally. It just kind of it goes through the playlist. All right, guys. So Bitcoin down at 91.2s. Where does Bitcoin open next week? Monday. I mean, it's not even going to open, but I look at the 200 exponential and I document self-drawn levels here on the chart. But again, I made a bunch of money yesterday and we're down small today, but today we're just kind of moving. I don't know what we're doing. Looks like we're a little bit weaker here. Again, PCE inflation 10 a.m. today. 10 a.m. Our buying company could drop 2 to 5% until they recover. Yeah, I mean, my position in Netflix is small. Yeah, it's a small position. Bitcoin next week, 98,000 maybe? Yeah, we'll see. Got almost 1,000 here already. Not even 8 a.m. yet. Nasdaq looking a little weak. Still green on the day though. You know, so if you look at the Nasdaq here, Nasdaq previous closing price is about 25,630. So the previous close is all the way here. Right around here, 632 something 50. Right around here is the previous closing price. So we're still very green on the day. We're just trending lower. You look at the SPY, and the SPY is very green on the day. So not super green. I mean, what is it, 0.2% for the SPY? SPY is up today from 684 up to 685 roughly. SPY is up like, yeah, 0.1 something, 0.2%. Pretty small. I think markets are waiting for data today. It is at 10 a.m. Monthly jobs report. Let me see. Monthly jobs report is done by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's what it is. Have they been updating? So, yeah. The next CPI report is going to be on the 18th. So it's going to be almost a week after next Fed meeting. I think we did get PPI inflation. Okay. Next payroll report is going to be December 16th, Tuesday, 8:30. So that's not next week, but the week after on Tuesday. That's when the next employment situation report is. So like I said, next week we have the Fed meeting and stuff. The week after that, the week of the 15th through the 19th of December is going to be a really busy week for economic data. We're going to have CPI inflation. We're going to have the labor report within a few days of each other. Again, on the 9th, next week we got JOLTS Tuesday, Fed decision Wednesday. So we still got stuff next week. Will we get a Santa rally? I've been asking this every day. I hope we do. I mean, I generally want markets to go up. We'll have to wait. Get PCE inflation 10 a.m. Hey guys, 10 a.m. PCE. You think investors are punishing Netflix for the acquisition as a signal they think they should hold cash and prepare for any weakness in job cuts? Yeah, I mean, you got to understand. All right. Why is Netflix reacting negatively to this? Well, it's because they're spending money on it. And, you know, spending $82.7 billion of your cash on buying up Warner Bros. While long term it might pay dividends in that, you know, it might do well, help them benefit long term, is what I mean by dividends. Short term, they're spending some cash on that deal. So because of that, traders don't like it. Netflix is opening lower. You know, WBD shares are halted if you look at it. They're not moving at all. They're halted. The buyout, I think, was at like 23 point something. Was slight. decrease from where we are now for Warner Bros. Discovery. I think the price was at 23. $23.25 in cash and $4.50 Netflix common stock. I think it's your mic that sometimes cuts out. Is it really? I mean, I could move the mic closer here and speak into it like this if that's better. But yeah, Warner Bros. Halted. Netflix down a little bit, although we did buy the dip. We'll see what happens. AMD sitting at 217s. It is at 10. Mic is okay. I'm clear. Yeah. It is at 10 a.m., guys. Bit skeptical we could go flat. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what this data does. It's September data. But it's relevant, you know, we'll see what happens. I think in the wake of not having any other inflation data, we're not getting CPI until, what, the 16th or the 19th? So, since we're not getting inflation data prior to the next Fed decision, all eyes are going to be on this report at 10 a.m. because of that. A little bit different than normal. It's more lagging than it usually is. Oh, so I went to physical therapy yesterday, bro. They had me jogging, and they didn't have me pivoting, but they had me lunging. And it didn't hurt. Everything felt fine. They had me jumping. I was running, jumping. I was dodge, duck, dip, diving, and dodging. You know. It was good. It was good today. Yeah, I think they did it at 10 a.m. because they originally scheduled GDP data for something like this. So I think they originally scheduled GDP, and then they skipped, and then they had GDP coming out at 8:30, and then PCE coming out at 10, and then they changed the schedule, but they kept the time at 10 a.m. That's why I think they're doing it like they are. Again, PCE inflation. Again, it's expected at 2.9%. I'll put a little thing up here. Hold on, let me help you guys. Core PCE expected at 2.9% year over year, 0.2% month over month. I'll put the expectations for PCE right here at the bottom. I should make this. All right. That better? Yeah, I think that's a little. All right, guys. NASDAQ holding over that 700s here. Every trade I've gotten in today, I have taken a position, almost immediately gotten stopped out, and then it reverses back up to over where I entered the position at. So I would have been green, basically. Should have held. Is basically what I'm saying. It's 10 a.m. Yeah. Never stop, Jack. I know. Listen. Honestly, Jack could have fit on that door. Let's just be honest. Selfishness. Rose is the villain of Titanic. Everybody knows it. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing so well, I can't really get too upset, you know? Like, this is my trading and the main account. I have had... Keeping my losses small here. Really, I'm about to take a payout in this one. But we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 losses, losing days. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 out of 12. So 60 something percent, but they're small losses versus bigger wins. Here's the actual graph of this account for the month of November and beyond into December. That's the actual graph. They're pretty good there. We got another account here that looks more like this. Where we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 losing days out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13, 15. So this one's 4 out of 15 losing days. So 11 out of 15 winning days. So that's pretty good. The graph on this one's a little bit sketchier, but it's still good. It looks like this. You know, so that's good. I don't know what my other accounts look like. Let's see. This one I've only traded a couple times in, but this one's pretty good. You know, here's the other one. 2 losses out of 1, 5, 6, 7. 2 out of 7. So that would be 5 out of 7 green days. That's all good and fine. We'll see what happens with Netflix though. Nvidia's still pushing up. It's at 184.30s. I don't think it's at 8:30, guys. I don't think inflation data is at 8:30. Who showed it at 8:30? I don't see it anywhere at 8:30. What I see is Canadian unemployment and anticipation rate data at 8:30. I'm seeing all of it. We got Michigan consumer sentiment and PCE inflation expected at 10. Look at gold spike up a little bit here, then dip all the way back down. Weird. I haven't looked anywhere. All right, so Axios published some news about Meta this morning. It says that Meta said it has struck several commercial AI data agreements with news publishers ranging from US Today, CNN, Daily Caller, Washington Examiner, and more. So it deals with AI publishers according to Axios. Again, with mostly news sources is what I'm showing. How do you think the market reacts to today's data if higher than expected? I really don't know. I think it's going to push back odds of a rate cut. Look at Bitcoin fall back down here. It's going to push back odds of a rate cut if we come in higher than expected. I don't know how much, though. I still think we're going to be cutting rates next Wednesday. But it depends on how hot it comes in at. If it comes in super hot and freaks people out, you know, yeah, it's going to move rate odds. But generally, I think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to impact it enough to not cut rates next Wednesday is mine. Basically, I think we're cutting rates. But I'm not 100%. 10 a.m. Eastern time, guys. All right, so Hassett is speaking. They say it's time for the Fed to cautiously reduce rates via FBN. Again, so NAC Director Hassett just said this. It's time for the Fed to cautiously reduce rates. Do you guys agree with Hassett here? Hassett will probably be the next. It'll probably be Hassett, the one who's going to be Fed chairman. This Hassett wanting to cautiously reduce rates is him basically showing people it's going to be dovish, I think. Bitcoin falling down a little bit more. Again, Japanese yields are higher today. Regular yields are higher too. Look, here's Japanese yields. 4.945% right now. 4.945%. Here's US yields. 4.116% right now. So almost up to 4.12% for 10-year treasuries. Japanese yields are higher. This is scaring people. Probably hurting Bitcoin a little bit. Hassett said could be looking at 4% productivity figure for 2026. There'll be bigger rebound in the first quarter. Expect the shutdown had bigger hit than expected. Time for the Fed to cautiously reduce rates. Again, Meta just announced multiple AI deals with news publishers. Meta's up a little bit on this. What a wild move for Meta yesterday, though. Meta had a huge move yesterday. Also, we had the Salesforce CEO say he might rename the company Agent Force, according to Business Insider. Would you rather Salesforce or Agent Force? Yeah, look at this move from Meta yesterday. Essentially that they're laying off some of the metaverse spending for other projects. Alright guys, we still got time. Agent Force sounds like a superhero group. Like, who can save the day? Agent Force. Yeah. Gold went all the way up to 42.63. All-time highs in gold are just under 4,400 if I remember correctly. Yeah, 43.98 for gold. Silver, if we take a look at it, $58.39. Yeah, PCE inflation today, guys. Yeah, I think the new dovish Fed chairman's going to cut rates. Be dovish. I think most people expect that already. I mean, it's Hassett, you know, so like they're going to put a dovish guy in there. PC comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, guys. PC comes out at 10. Nasdaq's going higher. I should have held. Again, Meta, AMD. Meta's moving stuff up, I think, a little bit. Meta had news about their deals with news publishers. Bitcoin popping back up a little bit. Nasdaq, I'm looking at 714 here. 715. Will we cut rates next meeting here? We got 800 votes on this right now. Will we cut rates next meeting? Again, Hassett spoke earlier. He said it's time for the Fed to cautiously reduce rates. He's still speaking right now. He said, yeah, so Hassett says could be looking at 4% productivity figure for 2026. The AI economy is moving faster than the 90s .com economy. He said massive momentum into next year's factories open. He said would be disappointed with 3% for quarter one and quarter two. We also had Morgan Stanley say they're looking more like a December rate cut. for them. They now expect a 25 basis point cut in the December meeting, citing the Fed's recent communication and market pricing. The bank says there'll be dissenting votes, and Chair Powell may pair the cut with language signaling the future moves will be data dependent, which is what he did the last time. By January, we were going to get most of the key Q4 figures on jobs, spending, and inflation. And so they still expect additional cuts in January and in April. They noted that early Black Friday spending looked, quote, better than feared, but historically these figures don't predict November, December retail. Higher prices likely boosted nominal spending, meaning real consumers' demand may be soft. Overall, Morgan Stanley anticipates slower real consumption growth in Q4. Gold moving a little bit higher right now. Look at Bitcoin back up too. Japanese rates doing. Japanese rates over 1.95%. They're close to it at least. They're very close to 1.95. They went over there for a split second. If you look at Japanese yields, they got up to 1.951. Good US yields edging higher still at about 4.12%. Bitcoin rising here though, chat. Oh. All right, so the Netflix co-CEO Greg says acquisition will allow the company to significantly expand production capacity in the US. The other CEO, Sarando, says combination of Netflix and Warner Bros. Creates a better Netflix for the long term. Netflix co-CEO Greg says deal provides greater choice and value for consumers. And again, Hassett is speaking right now on Fox Biz. He expects the shutdown had a bigger hit than expected. Expects bigger rebound in Q1. Says he would be disappointed with 3% growth in Q1 and 2. Thinks when factories open, it's going to start pushing markets and economy. I was already in Meta the other day, so I had bought Meta a while back, and I was in it. I took profit into Meta yesterday on the spike around 180s or 680s. So again, SoFi announced the $1.5 billion split. We seem to be bouncing at 700s, but we'll see if we actually hold. Meta pushing up a little bit. Nvidia back down to 184s. Talking about short term, I'm covering very short term price action. I would say this is a rise right here. You know, but it depends on the context, the time frame. I mean, public and the government are telling two different sides. Yeah, inflation comes in line, slightly cooler. Yeah, I mean, we had this week some interesting stuff. I talked about this yesterday. We had jobless claims numbers show strength in labor yesterday. The Tuesday prior to that, we had ADP private payroll numbers, which showed negative 32,000 jobs for private payroll data. And so one showed strength and less people filing for unemployment yesterday. And then one report showed big weakness in the labor market, negative 32,000 jobs. And so it's hard to figure out which one to trust. Honestly, realistically, I look at ADP's numbers a little bit with a little bit clearer head because the government revises their numbers a lot. Now, jobless claims, I don't see them getting revised often, but they do get revised sometimes. But ADP numbers have been spot on in the past. And so I'm looking at ADP numbers, and that showed negative 32,000 jobs. And I think the Fed is going to be looking at ADP's numbers as well, to be honest, just since we don't have some of the labor reports that we need before this next Fed decision on Wednesday. So I think they're going to be looking at private payroll numbers that we've seen, not just yet on Wednesday, but the reports we've been seeing from ADP over the last few months, I think. And almost all of those reports have been incredibly weak. Almost none of the ADP reports have been good in terms of jobs. And so I'm going to put more trust in those numbers personally, but do what you want to do. You know, I get looking at either one. Or at least the strongest jobless numbers in 4 years. Yeah, it's 2022, I think is what it was. But again, you got to understand, this is a weekly unemployment filing report, right? So I'm not saying it's not important. Jobless claims weekly report is important, but I think you got to look at an array of different reports to really get a good picture of it. And I think if you look at all of them, things are looking a little weak. Yeah, the yen carry dynamic is interesting right now. Again, Bank of Japan historically has been very low interest rate environment, negative interest rates, and overall just low interest rates a lot of the time. This has caused a lot of traders to buy up assets using the Japanese low interest rate environment, using leverage basically to buy up assets in the US. But now the Bank of Japan is signaling that they're probably going to raise rates this month. And so markets have kind of been pricing in somewhat of a less carry trade dynamic. Hey, bud. Love you, buddy.
Love you, Daddy.
Good day at school, dude. Hey, wait. So yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, I bought the dip on Netflix. Okay. All right, I got it. I love you, buddy. Yeah, so now that the Bank of Japan is signaling they're probably going to be raising rates this month, a lot of stuff's getting unwinded there in terms of the yen carry dynamic. If you look at Japanese bond yields, like look at 6-month chart here. Look at where we're at now. It's July. This is a 6-month chart of Japanese yields. We're at almost 1.95%. You know, they're used to having super low interest rates. I think if you look at a longer term chart, you really kind of get the picture here, which is that yields are spiking on the Japanese yen. Highest since 2008 and longer, 1.95%. 5-year chart is where you really see it. Here's a 5-year chart for the Japanese yen yields. That is looking a little scary for Bank of Japan yields. And again, yields and interest rates follow each other, so they're worried about inflation now. Yeah, again, Japanese are worried about inflation. They're getting just some kickback in terms of, like, hey, I know low interest rate environment is good, but inflation's bad, so let's raise rates. That's kind of what's driving it. Nasdaq's still coming back down. We're very sideways here, though. It's hard to make money. I've tried a couple trades, small losses, but nonetheless, I've tried a couple different things, and Nasdaq's falling down a little bit. It almost is weak enough to make me want to short it on a bounce. Almost weak enough to make me want to short it. I mean, I'll put a timer up closer to the report, to be honest. But right now... All right, Hassett's still speaking. He said he backs Bessett's view on Fed Reserve Bank president, not discuss Fed president issue with the current U.S. president. He refers to Bessett's idea of 3-year residency for presidents. He sees massive disruption if Supreme Court cancels tariffs. He said 232 and 301 trade measures are among the backups. He wants that Fed chairman job. That's what he wants. All right, look at the Nasdaq fall here. I'm looking at news. I don't really see any news to drive the market down like this, except for Bessett's comments, or Hassett's comments, I mean. Look at this drop. Yikes. Yeah, we got PCE inflation today, guys. It is PCE inflation day. I think these are just Bessett's comments flushing the market down a little bit here now. Again, inflation today, core PCE expected at 0.2%. 0.2%. I should have shorted. I should have shorted. Market's so bloated. Market was pushed up higher by algos. Nothing got leaked. Yeah, I'm gonna go with slightly higher. Higher or lower inflation data today, guys. I asked people bull or bear. We got about 1,000 votes. 64% are bullish, 36% are bearish. A bullish number for PCE would be like 2.6% versus 2.9, you know? Like bullish number would be like 2.6, 2.5, 0.7, you know? That's what markets would consider bullish. Still looking to see if Hassett's still speaking. It looks like taking a break from him. Think a lot. Think could be higher, and we have so many months without data. It's hard to know. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna go with slightly higher than expected at like 3%. Is what I'm gonna look at. 2.9 or 3% is what I'm going for. As expected, slightly higher. That's what I said earlier this morning too. Is I'm gonna go with slightly higher as expected. But again, I'm just straight up guessing. It's normally at 8:30. But since this is delayed data, they're just changing the time. That's what's going on. Yeah, it is September data. It's a little bit delayed. Heard a rumor that CPI might get released today. I know it's scheduled for the 10th. I mean, you never know, but I think that's complete nonsense. Why would the BLS say, you know what? I know we got it scheduled for this specific period of time. You know what? Screw that time. Let's just drop it right now. I don't think, I mean, it could happen. I don't think it's going to, but it could. I don't think it makes any sense for them to do it that way unless they're like, hey, yo, we got to get this out for the Fed decision. But I just don't think that's going to happen. You know. No, we don't get non-farm today. It's not today. Non-farm payrolls are scheduled. They got it scheduled. I think they're scheduled for not next week. I think it's scheduled for like the 19th or the 18th for the payroll report. Nasdaq's still falling down here. I think it's like the 19th or the 18th. 10 a.m. Netflix is falling down a little bit. I think this is actually Netflix driving the market down here. Look at Netflix fall. Could be the CEO speaking here a couple minutes ago. Netflix fading. Again, I'm just going to wait. I'm in such a small position on Netflix. It's not the end of the world either way. 10. Yeah, it's 10 a.m. is when the data comes out. No companies are selling U.S. IG bonds Friday, according to Bloomberg survey of underwriters. Again, Salesforce CEO says he might rename the company Agent Force, according to Business Insider. NEC Director Hassett says it's time to cautiously reduce rates. Do you guys agree with him? Should we cut rates next month? I ask this every day. I'm curious to see what people got to say about it. Should we cut rates next month? Nasdaq falling, Netflix falling, Bitcoin falling, Nvidia falling over the last 20 minutes or so. Again, should we cut rates on Wednesday next week? Again, PCE inflation is at 10 a.m. today, guys. 10 a.m. Nasdaq still falling down. Netflix still falling down. Yes, we should cut rates. No, we shouldn't, but we will. No. Inflation time all the time. Market needs rate cuts, so bet Big Daddy will give us rate cuts. Big Papa? I like calling him Big Papa. I don't think he loves it when we call him Big Papa, though. These are just high-quality jokes today. High-quality jokes. Gold, up to 4260s. So gold's moving up. Nasdaq moving down. Netflix is moving down. Down $404,000 on Facebook calls. That sucks. You're probably trading a little bit too large unless you're like a multi-millionaire. You know? Nasdaq's still fading down here. Friday, bad jokes are allowed. Bad jokes are always allowed at my house. You know, sometimes they're so bad they're good. You know, my kids hate me for it, but you know, it's my job as a parent. We got 2.5 minutes left until 8:30. Again, all we really got at 8:30 is the Canadian, the land of Canada, releasing employment change, participation rate, and unemployment rate at 8:30. Again, PCE inflation's at 10. We also have Michigan consumer sentiment at 10 as well, but Netflix is fading here. I could add a little bit more to my position since it's so small. I don't know. As long as you don't start asking for money here, travel the land. You know, you start asking people for money, you're going to get booted out quick. We're at 98.7. What Bitcoin chart do you use? Yeah, I mean, this is the Bitstamp chart for Bitcoin. Bitcoin fading down under 91,000 as we speak here at 90.73 thousand for Bitcoin. I mean, the market looks weak, but we're still green on the day technically. But Bitcoin all the way down, retesting 90,000. Where did I say Bitcoin would close the week the other day? I think I said 89,500. If we close there, we're in a simulation. You know, that's all I'm saying. It's at 10 a.m. guys. 10 a.m. Eastern time today. If it closes at 89.5, we're in a simulation and y'all are just a figment of my imagination. You know, gold's spiking up right now. Look at gold here. We're at 92.64s. Poppy Powell. All right, guys. Yeah, again, 8:30 is about to hit. We've had a lot of people that are like, oh, the PCE's coming out at 8:30. It's not. It's coming out at 10. Let's see if I eat my words, though. 15 seconds. Again, expected at 2.9% and 0.2% of the month. I think it's going to come in at either 2.9 or 3%. Slightly higher as expected here for core PCE inflation. Here's 8:30. We'll see what the land of Canada has to say about unemployment. It's expected at 7%. It ended up showing up at 6.5%. 6.5% unemployment rate for Canada. Stronger employment change numbers at 53.6K versus negative 1.5K expected. Now remember, it is the land of Canada, so it's not going to move markets at all. But a little bit better jobs numbers for Canada. We'll see what happens here. It comes out at 10 a.m., guys. 10 a.m. I've been saying it all morning. 10 a.m. All right, guys. Gold spiking up. Nvidia rebounding a little bit here. So is Bitcoin. Gold at 42.67s. Again, inflation data is coming out at 10 a.m. today, guys. I don't know what since we didn't really have any other data. I think, and again, I think the reason they're putting it out at 10 is because originally it was scheduled to come after GDP data same day, right? So originally it was scheduled to come out at 10 a.m. and GDP the same day was going to come out at 8:30, right? So originally GDP was scheduled to come out at 8:30. I think they didn't want to release them at the same time. So instead, they made GDP come out at 8:30 and then PCE inflation come out at 10 a.m. And so then they rescheduled this. Look at this drop we're seeing right now in markets, guys. Seeing a drop for sure. Again, Canada unemployment came out. Might add a little bit more to my Netflix trade here. But anyways, they eventually rescheduled GDP and PCE. I think they canceled the GDP report completely. But they kept PCE later down the line, but they kept it at 10 a.m. to not change the time, I guess. That's why I think they're coming out at 10 a.m. today for PCE inflation, not 8:30. Yeah, I mean, Jack, you're about to get banned. PCE inflation. Yeah. GDP canceled. Q3 GDP canceled. I think, or at least pushed back. I don't know when. Yeah, look at these drops. I say it again, I should have held that short way up there. I think I went long afterwards, so. There seems to be a stock dropping this, though. It's not NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA's fallen down, I think. Meta. Apple. Google. Yeah, obviously Netflix. Maybe AMD, Netflix. Is this Hassett making markets fall down? Drop showing up in markets here today, chat. Canadian unemployment report showed strength. Again, 6.5% unemployment rate versus 7% expected. Stronger jobs numbers by like 50K. John, the jobs report is at 10 a.m. Why didn't you tell us? I told everybody multiple times. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do we sell off or run up this morning, guys? Let me know. Put sell off or run up in chat. I did polls on PCE. 64% are bullish, 36% are bearish. The North is strong. As the king of the North. I agree with that statement, you know. Netflix overpaid. Yeah, small businesses. Look, if you look at the ADP report, which is what I've been looking at, we've got some contradictory reports here. We looked at this yesterday. But if we look at the ADP report, 32,000 jobs lost in November. Small businesses specifically, though, they're the ones that really got hammered here. Look at this. $120,000. 120K. For small businesses. Mid-size and large businesses actually did well. Mid-size gained 51,000 jobs. Large businesses gained 39,000 jobs. Small businesses are the ones that got hammered. Again, 120,000 net job losses for small businesses with 1 to 49 employees. So they got hurt. NASDAQ still falling down here, chat. Again, Paramount Skydance offered $30 a share for Warner Bros. Discovery, according to CNN. That's actually above where Netflix bought it at. Netflix, if you take into account the shares as well, was like 27 something, I think. It's because of inflation. Yeah. Look at the markets fall here, guys. NVIDIA. I believe. Like, look at a video on the middle chart in the top. I think this is NVIDIA driving it down, but again, Amazon, Netflix, Microsoft, Meta. Tech is turning a little bit here, chat. Definitely getting some bears show up in markets here. Yeah, we did have Hassett speak earlier. I don't think he said anything too detrimental to markets. Taking a look at yields. What are the markets pricing in, guys? 10-year Treasury at 4.12%. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, look at the market dip. Again, Meta's coming back down a little bit. They had some news that they partnered with a bunch of news agencies for AI earlier. But again, this is NVIDIA about to go red on the day. NVIDIA previous closing price is 183.38s or so. We're at 183.40s. So it's pushing down. Yeah, small caps have been doing okay, actually. Unemployment data is probably a lot worse. Maybe. Again, PCE inflation 10 a.m. today, guys. 10 a.m. Put that up so you guys can actually see what reports come out. Man, we are still falling down here. We're falling enough to where I might actually start buying this up, as long as there's no like crazy news that came out here this morning. All right, we're gonna buy this up now. I think we kind of have to. Here we go. We're gonna take half off there. Y'all can't see this. My bad. Chat. What account am I on? Okay. This one. Want to add back here? Go. 2 contracts. Got a cushion. Here we go. Take that off too. Love to see it. We're gonna cut it right there. Go back to my other accounts though, see if I can make some of that money back on it. Caught the bounce at 625, but man, we are not stopping down. It looks like I cut it just in time too. Alphabet's price target was raised to 350 at Truist. They expect record U.S. e-commerce and digital ad spending this holiday. Resilient consumers supported by strong jobs, more efficient ad platform powered by AI, and sustained e-commerce momentum. Again, we did have Canada unemployment show up lower than expected at 6.5 versus 7%. Again, 6.5. The mouse. I love you. Love you. You look great. You look great. I love you. Daughter's dressed up as a mouse today. All right, NASDAQ still coming down here. Wait for the data. Bad data. I'm done. Toilet paper. Netflix red. Just do it, Nike. Catch a falling knife. Yeah, no. PCE comes out at 10 a.m., guys. It's not late. It's on time. They pushed it back to 10 a.m. I don't give out trading advice, Travel. I don't know what you should do there. All I know is you should probably scale down your size if you can't pay your rent with stuff like that, dude. You're sounds like you're gambling, bro. I would just chill out. But I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. If you want to help support the channel, check out Topstep. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. Very similar to day trading stocks, in my opinion. No PDT rule, so it gets you around the PDT. $50 a month for the base one. $50 a month is pretty cheap. Teaches you how to trade with some risk. If you pass that challenge, they give you a 50K funded account, 90% split, which is similar to the split you would get funding your own account, which is 100%. 90 is pretty similar. No PDT rule in futures. Zero commission on Topstep X. Super reliable payouts. They recently reduced their activation fee universally as well, and gave you a no activation fee option. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I'll put the link up. You can pin it to the top. I'll pin it to the top of the chat if you want to check them out. Got my $500. I'm out. Hey, good luck. Yeah, pawn time the guy out, which you probably should. All right, NASDAQ still falling here, guys. I'm looking at 25,600s here. Bitcoin's still falling. We're at 90.4 thousand here. What's really weird is that we've got this big bullish or this big bear movement, but we have no news to justify it. No news to justify it. We just turned red. What a Friday. Again, I think it's Nvidia battling this previous closing price right here. I don't know where they're going though, but Meta's coming down, Bitcoin's coming down. Because he I don't know. Just attention seeking, I think. Yeah, carry trade unwinding could be it. I mean, we can take a look at Japanese yields, which we already have. They're actually a little bit lower over the last, like, since this news came out, they were actually a little bit lower here. So they were up here at 1.95%, you know? And so I would understand if we had like a spike in Japanese yields and then we had this negative correlation in markets, but that's not really what this is. If we look at US yields, they're pretty much flat as well. So I don't think it's the yen carry dynamic unwinding that's dragging the market down all of a sudden like this. I think it's something else. It did kind of time it with the Canadian unemployment rate though, but we were kind of trending down as it is. Markets are scary right now, chat. Markets are scary. A fake out. At least we're getting volatility. I'm for it. Even though some of the stuff I'm in is red, but that's all right. It's not red enough for me to panic. Is the data bad? Why the dump? We didn't get data. Data comes out at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, chat. 8:30. Or no, I'm sorry. Ignore everything I just said. Market data comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It says it right there in the bottom of the screen. It also says it as the title of the stream. I like trading volatility, yes. Massive day yesterday, got to figure a pullback. I mean, I'd rather markets move up, just to clarify. But this volatility, a lot of the time I'll buy this dip. I don't usually like trading with the trend. I usually find some cheap entries. Yeah, following the Canadian jobs report, which is actually much stronger than expected. It was expected at a negative number. It ended up showing at like 50K plus, I think. But because of that Canadian jobs report, Canadian swap markets now price in 15 basis points of tightening in 26 versus 5 basis points pre-data. Could be the Canada numbers, but strange. Big drops here all around. Look at us cracking lows again here, man. Meta's coming down. Nvidia's red on the day technically now. We're filling the whole gap on pre-market now on the downside. Great decision is the 10th, Wednesday next week, 5 days from now. I'm surprised people are still looking at BYND. We get inflation data today, guys. We got inflation data. Dip before the rip. Yeah, I don't really know what the cause of this sell-off is either. I don't think it's really easy to tell. I think Canadian jobs numbers maybe, but very strange. We did a poll earlier. Are you bullish or bearish on today's PCE? 63% are bullish on my report. On this report, I mean. Meta's fading back down a little bit. It's at 662s. Nvidia went red for a little while. It's starting to pop back up though, and Bitcoin is all the way down under 90,500 here. Yeah, I mean, I think that could be what it is, just a Canadian jobs report. Yeah, but MVK, the Canadian jobs report was strong, not weak. Is the only thing about it. So, like, just to put this into perspective, the employment numbers for Canada came in at 53.6 thousand versus expected negative 1.5K. So, way stronger than expected jobs numbers for Canada for November. Unemployment rate was 0.5% less than expected at 6.5 versus 7%. And so I don't necessarily think weak Canada data is putting pressure on US stocks. I think Canada data was strong, could signal inflation, and maybe that's what people were worried about now leading into 10 a.m. today is the inflation report. But Nasdaq's still falling here. It's at 583s here. Basically a straight down trend. Again, I will start trying to buy this up more and more here. I guess I'm going to try to buy it again. Small contract, though, that will add to it if we're correct. Is the plan right now. All right, we're green. If we go much green. Much more green here. Need a little bit more though in this position. But add to this now. We retrace back up a little bit here. We'll take 3. All right, there we go. Okay, we're green. There we go. Spiked up enough. I don't think we held long enough for me to really get good profit in, but we got a couple. Still more bears showing up here. I'm gonna have to cut this and then just wait now. So I'll see if we do a liquidity grab at the bottom. Could add to this and take a risk. There's the liquidity grab at the bottom. I'll give it a second. Seems like it's gonna go higher. You never know though. There we go. We're almost flat on the position now. Struggling to stay higher here. Almost green. I'm gonna cut half of this and just limit my risk here. Gonna be able to hold on to this a little bit more loosely. Yeah, it looks like cutting that half right there was the smart move. Take another piece off. We're honestly not down that much on this trade, where we could have been down a lot. And look at that liquidity grab again up here. Nvidia's still falling down though. That's what's still looking weak here in markets. Like Nvidia testing the lows again right here at 183s. Retracing all the way back up a little bit. Try to be patient with this, but not the easiest. Every time it looks like it's going to go higher, it just flushes right back down and retests lows. But we are sideways, which is a good thing. There we go. We're green. There we go. That's better. Tell me. There we go. Yeah, I mean, we had to wait a little while for it, but man. We are getting a bounce back. I'll buy another dip if we get it. We're getting closer to the opening bell here, though. Nvidia's right back up to that previous closing price, trying to go green on the day. The dip thesis worked. It just kind of faked me out a lot beforehand. We're going to add back. See if we can get back in here. Rip over this level. There we go. Add a little bit to this. We add a little bit more here, and then that's it. See if we pop right back up there. We're almost green. Or green. Good. Take half, third off right there, I mean. Nice. Another piece off up there. No. Get out the rest right there. So far, so good. Catching the rebound up. Look at Nvidia. Nvidia back over technically green on the day over the previous close. Yeah, it's Friday. We got inflation data today, so I just think there's going to be... I don't know if we're gonna go straight down more. I wanted to buy it up there. I thought just extension wise we had fallen down a lot already this morning. Big report, so I thought it was less likely that we would just straight down. I'm scalping these moves because they're big range of the day, and not trying to get stuck in another big leg down. I think I kind of have to scalp it versus holding it long. Are you bull or bear right now, guys? We got 63% bullish on the poll for PCE data. Netflix bought out Warner Bros. Discovery, but because it's going to take so much of their cash short term, they're paying $82.7 billion. Because they're taking so much of their cash short term, traders are just kind of not liking it as much. That's why Netflix is down so much. I ended up buying the dip. I'm kind of flat on the position now, though. I don't know what I want to do. I'm looking at $100. Netflix recently split as well. NFP data is in a few weeks. They pushed it back. We're not getting NFP data before the next rate decision. Mostly bulls right now. Video 183.50. MicroStrategy puts. Where's strategy at right now? 183s. Had a little rebound though since first. It's had a little rebound since the first. Bitcoin again under 90,000, 91,000, I mean. Asset said earlier it's time for the Federal Reserve to cut rates, and he's the most likely next Fed chairman. So if he is, he's going to be much more dovish, I think. Obviously. Tom Lee said ETH is bottomed. Didn't Tom Lee also say Bitcoin would be at 250K by the end of the year? I'm not saying don't listen to him. And I'm a bull in Bitcoin. I want Bitcoin to go up. I like blockchain technology. I like Bitcoin. All that stuff. But you just got to take stuff like that with a grain of salt, I think. Reports drop at 10 a.m. today. In an hour. I'll put a timer up. People are asking for it. This timer's actually bad. It's basically... Alright. This is when the PCE inflation report comes out. Hour and 1 minute. Look at that level right here. 625. Let's see if it holds. Again, I'm watching Netflix and Nvidia today. Nvidia back green on the day. Yeah, like I want crypto to go up, but the media in crypto, the social media accounts you see in crypto, like I think they're trying to pump things up, and I get it. But I also think that they're just kind of saying what they want to happen, but they're speaking it like it's gospel, like it's truth, you know? And I think at a certain point, you got to just learn to understand that context of it. And again, I want Bitcoin to go up, but everybody has their own motives, 100%. I'm the top 3 motive having person right now in the world. All right, guys, we got 30 minutes until the opening bell. It's about 9 a.m. Are you bullish or bearish for the opening bell today? Let me know. Bull or bear on the open? I don't know why the market dropped. We didn't really have any news that came out that would justify this drop either, to be honest. We had the Canadian jobs report come out much stronger than expected, lower unemployment than expected, 53.6K versus negative 2.5 to 5,000 expected. So they expected weak numbers. They got a $53.6 thousand number versus negative 5K expected. But the Canadian numbers came out strong in the land of Canada. But I don't know if there's necessarily a correlation with that either. For whatever reason, the market just turned. Netflix dropped, Meta dropped, filled some of the gap on the upside. Filled it on the downside, I mean. So yeah, algo's still trading as if PCE was at 830. What this drop looks like is that there's a lot of U.S. businesses using Canadian capital because the American banks are asking too much for interest. Strong Canadian labor numbers, no Canadian cuts. Yeah, I mean, maybe. With these job numbers, it's looking more likely that they're going to have tightening next year, and maybe that's scaring people, especially with the Bank of Japan dynamic as well. It's possible. I almost want to buy this, though. This looks like it's going to push up here, but I'll wait just because it is a downward trend. See if this is another instance of should have done it. People say Bitcoin could drop below 20,000 again. Is that even possible? I mean, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not saying, I don't know if it's likely, but it's possible. Yeah, I'm not saying Tom Lee's always wrong. And I hope he's right about the bottom. I really do. Nvidia now technically red again on the day, though. Almost makes me want to short this. But I think the pattern looks bullish here. But if we reject here and come back down, I might short it. Depends on what Nvidia does. PCE is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It says it in the title. It says it on the bottom. You know what? Hold on. There you go. All right, so U.S. exporters sell 600 or 462,000 tons of soybeans to China. Honestly, really bullish on the next bull run. I really think it can hit 200,000 on the next run, especially with the next halving. Yeah, you might be right. Do I live off of my trading completely? No trade work. Again, my channel's called Beginner Trading. We mostly cover economics and trade. I mean, we obviously trade live every day, but we trade stocks and futures and then cover economic data. Top 3 least trading financial professionals in the world right now. Don't copy me. Not an investment professional. Nothing here is trading advice. We're not liable if you lose money. Don't copy me. Half the time I have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, guys, we got 25 minutes until the market opens. We got less than an hour before PCE inflation data goes live. Again, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang says Bitcoin is a store of energy. Just asking, mate. Yeah, no, I'm just Ellie. All good. You can ask. I'll be honest. Like, I'd rather not put up the, like, you know how it goes, man. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm the greatest trader. You know, look at how much money I made. I think that creates like a really tough standard to live up to when you stream and you cover stuff, right? I would rather tell people I suck. And then if I do better, cool. You know, and if I don't do better, you know, then I'm telling you that, guys, the truth versus having to like fudge things and numbers just to try to look like I'm great. I'm the greatest ever to get more views and attention. I'd rather not put that standard out there. I'd rather just tell people, you know, the reality of it. And I love economics, so I'm more into economics anyway. I think most of the people who watch the stream understand that and watch economic data here because that's my favorite thing to cover and talk about. But I trade, we stream. I got one sponsor, you know. PCE inflation is coming out at 10 a.m. because they originally scheduled it to come out an hour and a half after GDP was scheduled. They then, since they scheduled it there, they canceled GDP and pushed it back, but they kept the same timing at 10 a.m. Follow you more than Kevin too? Yeah, I mean, Kevin McAllister, he's not really... No. Will we get a Santa rally this year, guys? That's the question. Over the poll, we got almost 2,000 votes. 62% are bullish, 38% are bearish. Yeah, I don't know. Oracle had that deal with the government, but it has faded all the way back down. You know, here that deal was announced. Was it government? I can't remember what this catalyst was. It was something big, like a deal with the government or a deal with Nvidia or something. Went all the way up to almost 350. It's now at 214. So it's down a pretty big percentage here. Maybe it's time to buy it cheap. What's Oracle's PE ratio? It is roughly what? 48 to 49x. Forward PE is around 30, but it's got a high PE ratio. It's not the highest we've seen in stocks, but it's not low either. You meant Kevin Hart? No Santa rally. Yeah, I mean, I knew what he meant, you know, but. Still slowly creeping up here. Nvidia's chopping between its previous closing price, the red to green level. This light blue line on Nvidia is the previous closing price. So Nvidia's just kind of chopping sideways around that. Think Santa rally until the 18th of this month because that day matters. Only be isn't the 18th? We got a couple things dropping at 18th, but isn't that the Japanese rate decision? I think that's probably what you're talking about. 4-weave 86. Quantum stocks are popping back up a little bit, it looks like here, huh? Yeah, so quantum stocks are starting to make moves over the last few days here. Grab, I mean, I like the idea of an all-in-one app that does ride sharing, deliveries, and more, but it's a cheap penny stock for me, and because of that, I'm not really interested in buying it. Recent IPO. Nasdaq's still going higher. Gold's still pretty close to the highs of the day, which are right around 42.70. The gold's creeping up higher. Bitcoin's bouncing a little bit. Nvidia's pushing back up now, technically green on the day again. Almost back up to 83.50, 183.50. Happy birthday early, Raymond. I got you. Remind me on the day. I'll give you a happy birthday, bro. Again, U.S. exporters sold 462,000 tons of soybeans to China. That was announced this morning. Again, Canadian jobs report earlier showed strength in the labor market there. Potential inflation worries about restriction. The Fed decision in Canada next year. Still think we're in the bubble at the moment. It'll pop. Maybe, brother. Maybe. Netflix still falling here. Look at Netflix. Again, Netflix bought Warner Bros. Discovery, or announced they're buying Warner Bros. Discovery for a price of around 82.7 billion. It's going to be mostly in shares. I think it's $23.25 a share, and then like $4 and something in Netflix stock is what I think it was, something like that. But Paramount's probably kind of heated right now on not winning Warner Bros. Discovery bid. Although Netflix is reacting negatively to this news just because probably for cash. You know, they're spending cash on this. Is tech in a bubble here, guys? It's not a bubble, it's extra liquidity into the market for new services. Yeah, maybe. couldn't you say the same thing about the internet in 2000? That's the only thing that it's like, yeah, I think AI is big. It's the next big thing. Robotics will be after that, implanted with AI, and I understand that. But are we gonna burst anyway? Yeah, I understand. I think AI is the next big thing. Again, I've been saying this for years and years and years. Before it was cool to get involved with AI, I was telling people AI would be different. Yeah. But it doesn't mean companies are not. Again, the internet bubble. What happened is that companies started IPOing pre-profits. We got a lot of internet companies that use the internet to enter markets and gain funding in public markets, right? So basically, we saw a lot of companies that went public that shouldn't have, that were basing their businesses around the internet, and they did really, really successful IPOs and run-ups leading into the dot-com bubble bursting in 2000, right? And so even though the internet was that next big thing, and the strongest companies ended up succeeding wildly afterwards, right? But a lot of companies still failed just from overvaluations in the internet companies that weren't really as justified. Again, prior to Netscape, which was a browser company, companies didn't really IPO. I think it was before at least a couple quarters of profit, right? You needed a couple quarters of good profits over a certain amount before companies IPO'd. After Netscape, they IPO'd pre-profits, made billions from it. You know, that opened up the floodgates. And then eventually that bubble bursted in 2000. And even though the internet was the next big thing, the bubble still bursted, right? Like, that's the history of the dot-com crash. And bear market that followed it. And so I'm not saying that's what's going on now, but it could be. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying that's what we're in. I don't know. I'm just giving you guys the history of it. And so, yeah. All right, guys. So we're still pushing up. I kind of want to short this, but I also think we could just do a V-shaped recovery here as well. Maybe I'll short 650s up here if we get it. I think you could theorize that we're going to go sideways for the open now. If we keep pushing up to 650, I'll short it. Don't copy me, not an investment professional. Have to enter it here, I guess. Add to it up to that 650 level, which is what we're targeting, and see if we reject clean off of it and come back down. Flat, we're almost green. Rejected at least a little bit here. Maybe I should have waited and entered a little bit better number. All right, we're green. There we go. There we go. We're gonna start unloading a little bit. A little bit more off down here. We can also add back now that we took some off. Do a liquidity grab quickly here. Back down, but it doesn't look like we are. And we got 664 up there. Netflix is falling back down, so I want to give it a second. See, the thing about it though is that Nvidia started to pop. Okay, we're back to basically flat on this. I'm gonna reduce some of my size here though. I don't want that 650 to prop us up here is what I don't want. Try to be patient, but I'm scared it's going to bounce at 650 now. I hope it just crashes underneath it and falls quickly, but we need Nvidia to fall. We need Meta to keep coming down. Nvidia keeps pushing up. It might just drag us higher. That's what it's kind of doing. Back down. Gotta go back and forth. How much time we got? We got 14 minutes until the open. I'm gonna take a piece off of this here. I see Nvidia pushing up. We're mostly flat on here. We might have lost like $20 or something, but it's small. Maybe be a little patient on the rest. Yeah, I mean, we're mostly scalping this morning, so we're taking positions on both sides. We've been longing. Problem is, here's 650. I don't want this to act as... Again, the other problem is that Nvidia pushing up here. So I'm gonna cut this right here, actually. We got PCE inflation in about 41 minutes. Numbers aren't out yet. The numbers come out at 4:30 or at 10 a.m. I'm sorry. Yeah, we do. We've been doing better at pre-market most days. Today's definitely not one of those days. All right, so the German British pound US dollar 1 month volume drops to the lowest since February of 2020. Senior U.S. official to the CNBC on the Warner Bros. Netflix deal see heavy skepticism. All right, in terms of recent layoff announcements, we've seen the government lay off over 300,000 people. UPS laid off over 45,000 people. Amazon up to 30,000 people. Intel 24,000 people. Nestle about 16K. Verizon about 15,000. Accenture about 11,000, Ford about 11,000, Novo 9,000, Microsoft 7,000, PwC 5,600, Salesforce 4,000, IBM over 2,500, American Airlines over 2,500, Paramount over 2,000, Target over 1,800, GM over 1,500, Applied Materials over 1,400, Kroger over 1,000, and Meta 600 employees. Should have held, guys. Should have held. I get greedy and try to short this again. Dude, I hate it when this happens, bro. Every time I enter a position, just boom, huge rip. We're gonna go green on this one, I feel it. Go over green. Okay. Reject. Back to green. Well, we didn't go green, but we're almost green. Let's see. Bitcoin's still falling at 93.86. All right, we gotta just cut it. Yeah, I'm not doing as good today on this account. I gotta just switch it. I'm gonna end my trading on this account. It's pretty small. We made hundreds. We made like 4 something yesterday in this account. So losing $100 today. Bitcoin's starting to fade back down a little bit as well. De-risking. Could be de-risking ahead of PCE data. That's true. $89.5. I said we could close at 89.5. Like I said, if we close there, we're in a simulation, guys. And y'all are made up people in my simulation. I think that's the scariest thought of a simulation. It's not that we're in like a matrix-like scenario where everybody's plugged in and it's good. The scariest concept, I think, is that this is all just figments of my imagination created by the simulation. You know? I think that's a scarier thought. Simulation theory will mess with your head, really. Yeah, it's all good. We made so much yesterday, and I'm green on another account today, but I think on that account I just gotta switch. Big volume spike. Or I guess an even scarier thought would be that I am the figment of somebody else's imagination, you know, and I just don't realize it. Scarier thought. Bitcoin 98,000. Consider it will go to 60 soon. Yeah, maybe. All right, guys, we got 7 minutes left. 7 minutes until the opening bell. We'll see what we get. Reports at 10 a.m. today, chat. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when PCE inflation drops. 36 minutes left. I was real, now I'm not real. Oh no, now I'm real again. Oh no, I'm real again. Yeah, I get it. I think my short would have worked here too. I mean, this looks even weaker now. Problem is we got 6 minutes until the opening bell, so I'm not allowed to really take this trade here. I use Topstep X to day trade, and if we're talking about stocks, I use TOS. Might add a little bit to this guy, Netflix. Add a little bit here. What do I want to add? A little tad bit. Why is this arrow here? Wouldn't it be weird for the simulation that we're in to give us the idea that we're in a simulation? Unless it's intentionally doing so. As a form of, like, recycling. Alright, so look at this pop. Netflix got a pop. NASDAQ got a pop. House Speaker Johnson says we'll roll out a healthcare plan probably mid-next week. You get the heavy skepticism in the White House's view of the Netflix acquisition. You think they get a deal done before January? I hope so, bro. I'm not going to deal with another government shutdown. Like, figure it out. Look at the NASDAQ pop here a little bit. It's probably the market on open. Let's watch 664. This is kind of a level here. Bitcoin back up to 90.5 thousand. All right, chat, 4 minutes into the open. Less than 4 minutes, really. We'll see if we can do better trading at the opening bell. We haven't really done good. We did great yesterday. So, like, I don't think we're going to lose money in the last 2 days net. But this morning at the bell, we have not been trading as well. So, you guys ready for a massive pump? You guys think we're pumping at the opening bell or dumping? Pump or dump at the open? Let me know. We got 3 minutes left. Get House Speaker Johnson says they're going to put out a healthcare plan sometime in next week. We'll see. I paid way too much attention to the shutdown. We finally got government data back. Better figure it out now while the government's open. But posturing. Data comes out at 10 a.m. I did almost make money on it. Yeah, just put this out there. Microsoft had that news that dragged markets down. I don't know when it was. I'm trying to see. When was the Microsoft news? Somebody give me a number here. I think it was right here. I was shorting the NASDAQ here. I covered right there my short position. The NASDAQ. Top 3 worst exits I've ever seen. You know, I mean, it would have been luck if I would have made money because it was a catalyst-driven reaction. I mean, I cut my short position here. I'm still mad about it, to be honest. That's how it goes, though. On brighter news, I cut my short position here. So that's good. All right, guys, here we go. We got a minute and a half left. We got PCE inflation at 10 a.m. today, guys. 10 a.m. PCE inflation. Nvidia ripping up here. 184s right now. All right, guys, here we go. 40 seconds here into the opening bell chat. 40 seconds. We do have PCE data at 10 a.m. today. We'll see what we get. 40 seconds. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're caught up 2x speed here. Delta Airlines pauses flights at DTW due to technical connectivity issues. Gold falling down a little bit after breaking 42.70 a couple minutes ago. I'm watching Netflix and Nvidia this morning at the bell. I think these are the 2 most volatile names this morning. Netflix buying Warner Bros. Discovery. NASDAQ fighting back. Nvidia rebounding here. And here's the opening bell. Good luck. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed if the bell is delayed. And here's the open. Netflix fading down here at 98. Nvidia chopping so far. Rebounding quickly a little bit here on Netflix, though. So we'll see if it continues back up. Look at the NASDAQ pop here, chat. Wow. Amazon. Google pushing up heavy at the open. Green at the opening bell, guys. Look at these moves. Get a video at 184s. Google at 320s. Netflix is actually fading down a little bit here, though. It's at 97.90s. $98 a share. Meta's still ripping up. Does this bull action hold, guys? Let me know in chat right now. So far, we've had really green action driven by Google, Amazon, Apple, also green. Nvidia pushing up, also green at 184.50s. Bitcoin rebounding some as well now. Big green rebound here, V-shaped recovery. We have basically recovered all the way up that we lost in pre-market. Very green here, very green. Not really any news here, but we gotta wait a couple minutes to trade now. Netflix bouncing back up too. Up to 770s right now in the NASDAQ. See, the question is, do we start coming back down now leading into the PCE inflation report? I don't necessarily want to short this pump though. It's too big. NASDAQ is just opening bell. Maybe short's getting squeezed out a little bit. All right, Nvidia just turned to the downside though. So did Apple. All right, guys, we are 3 minutes into the day. We got 25 minutes left before we get PCE inflation data today, guys. PCE inflation. Google's still strong though. Apple coming down. Here's Google, 322s. Nvidia now closer to the previous closing price. I'm watching Nvidia closely here to see what we get. A little correction on the downside now. Very close to the high of the day. Let's see if we hold up there now or what happens here. Still ripping up here some. High of the day. We come back down now. We're really retracing here, trying to get over some levels. Here we go. We too high, or do we continue to pump up here? I will start shorting this if we start to see some corrections in Nvidia, but I think it's kind of risky too though. All right, I'm gonna short a little bit, small, one contract. Very small. Only 5 minutes into the bell, so if we get deeper into the green, I'll add to it. There we go. I'll add a little bit here, but I gotta be careful. All right, we're gonna take a piece off right there and then cut the rest right there. Love to see it. Again, shorting these tops up here. We kind of bottomed out a little bit, but Nvidia back down to 183.50 though. Google's still pushing up. Netflix is actually really green back too here. So here's Netflix. Again, PC inflation at 25 minutes. All right, Netflix just went, or Nvidia just went red on the day. Google's still pushing up though. So is Netflix. We hold here. Yeah, we got PC inflation, 10 a.m. Right, we're coming back down, so look at Nvidia, 183s again, red on the day technically now. I want to short this. I kind of do. Oh, dude, I missed it. Didn't really get a good fill here, though, but I'll add to this. See if I can short a bounce. As long as we don't rip up big here, we should be okay. Break down some. Flat. We'll add a little bit, see if we push right back down. Video's still fading, but I want to capitalize on. Not gonna add any more to this. Problem is Netflix keeps bouncing back here. Yeah, I gotta start cutting. Question is, do we chop ahead of this? Yeah. I don't know. We'll switch accounts, put a different account up. Ripping up here in markets here. Let's see if we do a liquidity grab or what happens. Pushed all the way back down here, guys. Wow. We pushed right back up. Fill the gap now, or what happens here? Kind of trending sideways here ahead of this report. Again, remember, we do have inflation data coming out at 10 a.m. today in about 20 minutes here. Nasdaq's starting to chop. Video's still testing the low here. Trying to figure out what we're getting right now. We're kind of just chopping sideways. Right back up here. Go. I mean, we shorted this trade here really nicely. What am I on? Okay, I'm right here. Look at this. Put to cover. Still dropping pretty quickly here. Again, PCE inflation comes out in 20 minutes here, chat. 20 minutes. Hey, later, baked. Nvidia is dragging the market down. Everything else is mostly green. Nvidia at 182s here. Yeah, we got PCE inflation at 10 a.m. today, guys. 10 a.m. for inflation. Nvidia bounce here at 182s or so. Bitcoin down to 90,000 right now, chat. Again, PC is expected at 2.9%. I'm down here now. Fast drop too. I wanted to buy this dip a little bit more, but I didn't quite catch the bottom here, and I'm worried. Here. All right, we're green. Take some of this off right now. Get out right there. Like we got out in time. I'll buy 685s though if we get down there. I'm gonna buy this level if we get it. All right, guys. PC inflation PCE is the personal consumption expenditure index. It's the Fed's preferred inflation metric. Nvidia's still fading here. Look at this. Nvidia's had a weak open for sure. Everything else is strong. Netflix is bouncing back up. Google's up. Give me 685s. I'll take 685s if we get down there. Alright, we're close enough. What is this drop? What the heck is this? Look at this drop right now, guys. I mean, we're green. We just made money on that trade, but what was that, dude? Swiss government has the backing from clear majority of groups that has consulted over its proposed agreement with the European Union. What was that just now? Weird. I wanted 685s. We basically came down to 685s, but we dipped a lot leading into. I made money somehow on that trade, but wasn't. I might add more too right here, but I wanted to hold it longer though. It just whipped so quickly here. I'll try to add to this. There we go. All right. There we go. Green. Yep. We're out. We wanted to buy this bounce right here, look, because I think that makes sense, and it worked. But like, look at this big kind of crazy move. All right, guys, we're getting pretty close to the PCE report at 10 a.m. Getting pretty close. All right, so China's vice premier says they agree to promote stable development of economic and trade ties. Again, Swiss government backing clear majority of groups that consulted over the proposed new agreement with the European Union. China's vice premier says both sides had in-depth and constructive exchanges, agreed to expand lists for cooperation. During his call that he held recently with Treasury Secretary Besson and U.S. Trade Rep Greer. Both sides agreed to expand the list for cooperation. We agree to promote stable development of economic and trade ties. Bank of America could soon price a January Fed cut in there as well. Again, Nvidia dipping here at 181s right now. 181s. Again, 16 minutes until the PCE inflation report goes live. How can this report move markets? Because it's inflation data. The only inflation data we're getting before the Fed's cut decision on December 10th, next Wednesday. I'm actually green on my positions so far somehow today. I almost want to take. I'm going to take a little bit off of Netflix, just a little bit, just because I can. You know, might as well, right? We're up so much. We basically filled the whole gap down that we bought. Average price of 99 something. We're at 102.50. So I'll hold the rest long term. Yeah, I thought it was an overreaction though. Netflix buying Warner Bros. Paying $82.7 billion for it, mostly in cash. And we reacted negatively for Netflix, so I bought the dip. Again, 15 minutes before the PCE inflation report, chat. 15 minutes. We got PCE inflation at 10 a.m., guys. I'll be ready. Higher or lower inflation, chat? You think we're going to have higher or lower inflation? I'm going to go with, again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I think 2.9 to 3%. What we're going to get core PCE inflation year over year. I think 2.9 to 3%. What do you guys think the numbers are going to show up as, higher or lower? Let me know. Nvidia and SoFi both are making me red. Yeah, SoFi dilution news. They're selling 1.5 billion in shares. So All right, Nasdaq starting to fight its way back higher here. Yeah, 2.6 would be good. If we show up at 2.6, that's going to be optimistic. That'll essentially confirm a rate cut next week. I don't really trust the numbers. I feel you, man. I get it. But yeah. I need to put a t-shirt out there. Oh, it said I should have held, you know. Yeah, should have held. Top 3 quotes ever right there. Nasdaq still putting up. I mean, I should have held this tip buy I got in just now. Netflix almost green on the day though. You know, that's good. Again, 13 minutes. Do I want to buy the 725 level here, chat? Yeah, I did see. I believe ADP, I'm taking jobless claims table. Yeah. Would you recommend trading gold and silver only for someone who got wrecked in crypto? No. I don't recommend anything. I don't even know what a recommendation is. I don't even know what advice is. All I know is I don't give out professional trading advice. I'm not liable. If you lose money, always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional here. Guys, I'm not liable. If you lose, don't copy me. I'm not really good at trading gold either. So, I mean, I'm good at buying gold. I'm not really good at trading gold. Report comes out at 10 a.m., guys. 10 a.m. We got 9 minutes. We got 12 minutes left. 11 minutes. Hit the live button next to the play button. Bitcoin trending towards 90,000 here. Almost to 90,000. Nvidia is what's been weak since the opening bell. Top 3 responses ever right there. Gold is popping. Yeah, I see gold. Gold just went up to 42.7170s right now. Gold making moves. All-time highs for gold are just under 4,400. For gold futures, that is. I mean, I wouldn't say I buy and sell stocks daily. I'm mostly trading futures. You see my mug? Best mug ever right here. All right, guys, we got 11 minutes left. 11 minutes left. I haven't done jiu-jitsu in so long. It's been 84 years. Home Depot pushing up. You love to see it. I'm in Home Depot as well. Nasdaq still pushing again. Nvidia turning a little weak on the day. It's under 182s. Technically red. Netflix is almost green on the day after being red all morning. Definitely amateur, but not even advice. I would say I'd give amateur knowledge. He's good. He's good. Again, yesterday at PT, they had me duck, dive, dip, diving, and dive. I don't remember what it's something like that. They had me running and jumping yesterday at PT. All right, guys, look, gold testing highs of the day. Just broke it again. We are at 42.7550s. HD is Home Depot. All right, guys, here we go. We got 10 minutes. I figured somebody would correct me. Dodge, dive, dip, duck, and dodge. Yeah. All right, guys, Nvidia's still testing lows here. Yeah, I think this, I don't know if this is low of the day. Yeah, Nvidia tested lows of the day right now. Still falling. Nasdaq's still kind of green since the opening bell though, just because most of the other Mag 7 stocks are green. You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a dodgeball. That's true. All right, guys, PCE inflation data. About 8 minutes left. 8 minutes. Does it help or hurt markets, guys? Does it help or hurt markets? I'm going to do another poll right now. We asked people, are they bullish on today's inflation report? 62% were bullish. We're going to do another poll right now. And the poll is going to say, does today's PCE, core PCE inflation go higher or lower than the 2.9% year over year expected? Higher, lower, as expected are going to be the three options here. I'm going to go with as expected to higher, but who knows? Nasdaq's pushing up here. It's at 768 right now, testing the high of the day. Nasdaq up to highs of the day here, 770s. Still moving up here. Still looking strong. You can vote on that poll right now. 48% think higher, 47%. Again, PCE is expected at 2.9% today for core PCE. Remember, core PCE is the most important one. Month over month is expected at 0.2% for core, 0.3% for regular. I think regular PCE is expected at headline PCE. Going to be expected at. Oh, we also have Michigan's consumer sentiment. 2.8% is what headline PCE is expected at. But core is the big one, the most important one. All right. Yeah, previously core PCE for September. Again, previously core PCE showed up at 2.9%. They're basically expecting a flat month-to-month reading. Again, core PCE month over month. Expected at 0.2%. Previously, that number for core PCE was 0.2% as well. And headline PCE, Nasdaq's still breaking highs at almost 25.8 right now. Headline PCE year over year getting expected at 2.8%. Although core is the big one, it excludes food and energy. What did previous headline show up as? Previous headline showed up at 2.7%. 7. And headline D month over month expected at 0.3%. Previously that number 0.3% as well. So yeah, guys, we got 5 minutes. Nasdaq still pumping up ahead of this report here. Here we go. We got 5 minutes left. I mean, you can't tell what it's going to be by looking at your grocery bill. No, because we're looking at core PCE mostly. I mean, we're going to cover regular PCE, but we're mostly looking at core. Nvidia bouncing back. Core PCE excludes food and energy prices. And PCE coming out soon. Chat, 4.5 minutes. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Yeah, it excludes food and energy. Yeah, Bitcoin still at 90.2 thousand. Nasdaq up. Netflix almost green on the day, and I'm in it right now. Somehow my portfolio is green except for SoFi. SoFi's diluting by 1.5 billion. They're selling 1.5 billion in shares. So. All right, I see people higher, lower. Looking at our poll numbers, 41% think 42% think higher, 30% think lower, 28% think as expected. Nasdaq still pushing up. I'm gonna put the SPY up here, and maybe put like gold up on this chart so we can kind of watch those ahead of this report. Again, we got 4 minutes left. Make sure you hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. We finally get an inflation report. It's delayed September inflation, but it's something ahead of the next Fed meeting on Wednesday, where most people overall expect that we're going to cut rates. About 87% likely that we're going to cut rates. We are ready here for PCE inflation chat. We are ready. We got some windows up. We got PCE expected at 2.9% year over year for core. 3 minutes left. You got, again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll make sure you're real time with the stream. Why does it dilute? They got decent financials. They just want more cash. That's why companies dilute, sell shares. They make money when they do it. Apple started to rebound back up, though. But again, gold sitting at 42.77s here. The SPY sitting at 6.87s. Here we go. We got 2.5 minutes left. Again, what higher or lower than expected? Most people think 43% think higher. Yeah, that's probably right, Farmer. All right, we got about 2,000 people here. We got 2 minutes left. About 2 minutes left. I gotta put some exciting song on. Find one. Business appointment. We'll go with this one. I always find it strange. This guy's got a song called Day Trading, and it's the most peaceful song ever. I don't get it. Day trading is not peaceful. If there's one thing day trading is not, it's peaceful. You know? Song's titled Day Trading. It sounds like an India music video. You know? I don't get it. All right, we got a minute and a half. Minute and a half. Here we go. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up real time to the stream here. Price action suspicious. Definitely suspicious. All right, guys. We are here. Here we go. It's time. Inflation data, less than a minute here. Less than a minute. Again, hit the live button. Make sure you're caught up. Let's see what these reports show. Again, expected a 2.9% year over year. 2.9% year over year. We got 40 seconds left. 40 seconds. Core PCE is the big one. Headline PCE is kind of an afterthought, but core PCE is the big one. Month over month expected at 0.2%. Again, 0.2% month over month. 2.9% year over year is what it's expected at. We got 20 seconds. 20 seconds. This timer's a little bit early, guys. We got about 15 seconds. Here we go. And the report's about to come out in less than 10 seconds. All right, guys, here we go. And the report is coming out right now. Michigan consumer sentiment. Okay, PCE is out. 2.8%. 2.8% for core PCE year over year. 0.2% core PCE month over month. Headline PCE showed up as expected at 0.3. 2.8% year over year for core. 2.8% versus 2.9%. A little bit lower than expected. And this basically means we're cutting rates. Month over month, again, showed up at 0.2% as expected. 0.2% as expected month over month. Headline PCE year over year showed up at 2.8% as well. And core PCE month over month showed up at 0.2%. Or no, core headline PCE, I'm sorry, month over month showed up at 0.3%. My bad. As expected all around for headline. Again, we should celebrate this data. It was better than expected. Again, we should celebrate this data. It was better than expected, although the market didn't really react favorably to it. We did show up lower than expected at 2.8% for core. 2.8% for core. 0.2% month over month for core. Better than expected almost everywhere here. And the NASDAQ originally popped all the way up to 25,814s and then back down to 25,7s. My guess is maybe because it's September data, the market's not reacting to it as much. But this basically confirms rate cuts, in my opinion. I think we're not getting any other inflation data or economic reports, except for maybe the JOLTS report prior to the next Fed meeting next week here. So next week is Fed week. I'm assuming yields are going to start to come down on this report. I do assume yields are going to start to fall. So I do assume yields are going to fall. But this is better than expected numbers here for sure. Again, the current release, we could look at it. Personal income increased 94.5 billion, 0.4% month over month in September, according to estimates released today by the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis. Disposable income, personal income less current taxes increased 75.9 billion. Sum of PCE increased 70.7 billion. Personal savings 4.7%. And again, 0.2% increase for core PCE month over month, 2.8% increase. 2.8% for core PCE and headline PCE. And so again, they haven't rescheduled the next release here. But I think this is good. I think this is going to confirm rate cuts. And again, we can look at Michigan consumer sentiment. They lowered the inflation expectations for 5-year inflation and 1-year inflation as well. They have 5-year inflation by the University of Michigan expected at 3.2% versus 3.4% expected. 1 year only expected at 4.1 versus 4.5. So University of Michigan lowered inflation expectations as well. We're getting a little bit of a delayed reaction here, but again, better than expected inflation data. And I would argue better than expected Michigan data as well here, although consumer sentiment showed up at 53.3 for December for the University of Michigan. So better consumer sentiment, lower inflation expectations, lower PCE inflation as well. Core PCE showed up 2.8 versus 2.9, better than expected. Month over month showed up as expected at 0.2%. And then headline showed up as expected at 2.8 and 0.3%. Respectively. So that is what we showed. NASDAQ is moving up. SPY is moving up a little bit more though. Look at the SPY here. Look at Bitcoin popping up at 91,000 because again, I do think this essentially means that we're going to be cutting rates next week. I do believe that's what it means. I don't think, unless we get some wild other report come out, which I don't think we're going to, the only thing we really have is JOLTS. Yeah, that's the report. Crypto loves rate cuts 100%. Yeah, Bitcoin popping more than the NASDAQ is, to be honest. Why do I keep drawing these arrows? I don't mean to. There we go. Either way, I'm happy with this. My portfolio is green today, so I'll take it. Green is good. Carol's calling me like right at 10 o'clock. What is she saying? Okay, we're good. All right, guys, I'm going to end this poll. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish on this report. All right, we got bull or bear options here in chat. Again, if you haven't already, listen, I would never, ever do this to make money. That's just not what I do here. I'm here to help people out of the kindness of my heart. I don't even know what money is, guys. I don't even know what money is. What is money? I don't know. Ask Bitcoin that question. But if you want to check out my sponsor, check out Topstep. It's a great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money. And so if you haven't already, check them out. Great way to learn. Most day traders are going to lose. $50 a month for the base one. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split. They pay out millions, fund thousands. It's kind of like a souped up demo account that gets you a funded account if you pass the test. And you're risking something at $50 a month. So you're learning how to trade with risk, but not funding thousands and losing your first couple accounts like most new day traders end up doing. You got to confirm it all with them. I can't guarantee anything, but genuinely useful. They recently reduced their activation fee amount, as well as giving you a no activation fee option. So if you want to check it out, here's the link. They're a sponsor of mine. I am biased. I get paid by them. The top 3 most biased trader ever. There's understand all this stuff on screen. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Understand it all, guys. Don't copy me. NASDAQ is pushing higher here. Nasdaq still up here. It's at 832s right now. 832s. SPY at 688s. Again, PCE showed up. Again, I think this might make markets rally. I think better than expected inflation data confirms rate cuts. Where are yields at right now? Yields are kind of unchanged. But I think that's probably because we got the data already baked in here. Markets. Like, I think we're going to cut rates. Maybe a January cut is going to happen. Have you ever practiced it in front of the bathroom mirror? Practice what? Top 3 practicers in the world right now. I don't know what you're talking about practicing now. You know, but I'm definitely like in the list of the greatest practicers. I'm in the top 3. Gold dipping down a little bit on this. A plug? Dude, I don't need to practice it in front of the mirror. You know how many times I've plugged things here on this channel, dude? Top 3 pluggers in the world right now. And get your mind out the gutter, you know? Honestly, I thought inflation was going to be higher. Yeah, I mean, I saw a lot of people saying inflation was going to be higher. I voted on higher, but it was just a guess. I thought we'd come in as expected or slightly higher. We showed 0.1% lower than expected. Bitcoin's back over 91s here, which is good. Somebody told me $90,000 was not a psychological level earlier for Bitcoin. Somebody was like, nah, bro, 90K, nah, that's trash. Where did we bounce today just now? It starts with 90, you know? Y'all will never hear the end of this. I expect that guy to apologize. I don't know who he is. But I'll wait, you know, a little while. Alright, guys. Again, day trading wise, I'm actually net red on the day. I'm green in 2 accounts. The one account I'm red on is a little bit more red. None of them are very large. Again, check out Topstep if you want to help support this channel. Only sponsor I have. Just to be honest, of course I'm here to make money. I'm not spending 3 hours with you guys for nothing. I better get paid for it. It's a reasonable expectation, though. I give away a lot of stuff for free. You want to check out Topstep. Beautiful way to help support the channel. No PDT rule. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose, regardless of where you go, including here. But it's a lot cheaper to lose here most of the time than it is to fund 5K into your account and lose it in a week or two. Most of the time, at least. $50 a month for the base one. If you want to check it out, here's the link. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. All right, guys. Do we close red or green today in chat? Let me know right now. Do we close red or green? What do you guys think? Red or green close today? I'm going to go with green just because that's the easiest option. Again, I'm going to go with green. Let me put the numbers up in chat. Numbers were, again, I already put them up. You can follow me on x.com at Beginner Trades. We cover all this stuff live. PCE year over year was 2.8 for core. Or no, yeah, core PCE month over month 0.2%. Headline PCE month over month 0.3%. Core PCE month over month 2.8% versus 2.9% expected. Again, I'll put some of these numbers up on the screen. Core PCE, again, is the most important metric here. It's not headline. Friday, so red, green month, blue, green, green, red, green, green, red, red. Definitely green, green, red. No timer anymore. Terrible service. We had a timer, brother. Hit the live button, dude. You sound like you're delayed on the stream. The timer was 12 minutes ago. Or the timer went off 12 minutes ago, right before PCE came out. So don't you dare talk about my timer, bro. All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Listen, y'all be good. Have a great weekend. I'm gonna enjoy not seeing you guys for at least a little while. You know, I'm gonna sleep in tomorrow. Y'all be safe this weekend. Have a great day. We'll see who wins the UFC fights this weekend. Who's fighting? It's Marab versus Peter Yan. We got Pantoja versus Joshua Van. Dude, I hope Joshua Van wins, personally. He's fun to watch. Bunch of flyweights fighting. That's all right. I'm still watching these fights. Yeah, we'll see what LSU does next year. Lane Kiffin. Yeah, we got Georgia versus Alabama tomorrow. I just hope, I mean, I'm going to hope Georgia wins. I'm not bitter, guys. I'm not bitter. All right. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good. Have a great day. As soon as we close this stream, it's going to bring you guys to tomorrow, or to Monday's stream. As soon as we close this one. I'll see you guys over there. Big FOMC week next week. We'll see what happens. And, yeah, y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys later. So, again, it'll redirect you to Monday's stream if you want to check it out and watch it. Thanks so much for the love today. And NASDAQ just broke highs. So, looking good. Looking good. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good.